New York Attorney General Letitia James is suing former President Donald Trump, the Trump Organization, 3 of his adult children, and others for alleged fraud involving years' worth of false financial statements.
According to CNBC, the 220-page lawsuit seeks at least $250 million in damages. It also seeks to permanently bar Trump, his 2 oldest sons, and Ivanka Trump from serving as an officer of a company in New York, and prohibits the Trump companies named in the suit from doing business in New York State. So we'll have to see how this unfolds. The AG of New York has been after the Trumps for a long time with, a range of success, not so much success that they weren't able to do anything actually damaging to the Trump Organization or any of the Trumps. So probably there's a high bar to overcome my skepticism and probably anyone's skepticism that this is going to result in anything significant, which is not to say there was not fraud in the Trump Organization. There's already been, there's been tons of reporting, probably more reporting on this than almost any other subject by countless news outlets and countless legal actions, and they've paid out settlements and they've done all sorts of things. So she could very well be onto something, but
that's the thing. There have been settlements paid out, and here's what's true. It is both true that Letitia James has been out for Trump for a long time. She basically ran on the promise that she was going to prosecute Trump. However, that being the case, and whatever political motives might exist, are not in conflict with the idea that Trump may be guilty of things and has certainly been guilty of things in the past. So to add just a little bit of specificity to what's being alleged here, the civil complaint, this is from the Washington Post, cites drastic manipulations of Trump's personal asset portfolio, allegedly at his direction and with the assistance of Trump Organization executives, and representations made to financial institutions and insurance carriers. It alleges that the true value of his assets were concealed through careful doctoring of reports and by changing the methodologies used for various calculations. For example, Mar-a-Lago, a historic site, was valued at $739 million on the basis that there was potential for residential development on the property. In reality, Trump gave up his rights to construct homes there in exchange for sizable tax benefits known as conservation easements, and was truly valued at $75 million, not $739 million. So this is the kind of thing that's being alleged, that he basically misrepresented his worth, which, remember, was a key prong of the liberals' attack against him when he was first running in 2016. They weren't able to dissuade the public from liking him because of those kinds of things, but they may be able to attach some legal liability here.
Have you heard the golf course thing with the fake battle?
No.
Do you know this? I just came across, this is related to nothing. I just came across this story the other day. One of his golf courses, I think it's in Virginia, on like the 15th hole, there's a statue commemorating this Civil War battle that took place where all these people died, and it says, we want to honor the people on both sides of this conflict who gave their lives, etc. It's like the Battle of Blood River or something. Here's the thing. There was no such battle. There was no battle. There just wasn't a battle. There wasn't a battle.
So he invents a Civil War battle, and then also both sides, is it?
Yeah. It's pretty funny. There just was no battle.
I love that for him. Very
on the subject of the former president, appeals court panel has granted the Justice Department's request to block aspects of the district court judge Aileen Cannon's ruling that delayed a criminal investigation into the documents seized from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, creating a major upset for Trump. The panel ruled that Cannon, a Trump appointee, erred when she temporarily stopped prosecutors from using the roughly 100 classified documents recovered from Trump's estate as part of a criminal inquiry. And this is according to Politico. So this was a 3-judge panel. Two of the judges were appointed by Trump. The other was, I believe, an Obama appointee, a Democrat. And it was unanimous that they totally disagreed with the other Trump judge's ruling that there should be a special master and that the FBI can't just kind of look at these documents at will. And they were pretty scathing. Yeah. And their decision my understanding is it does not allow Trump can't appeal to the full panel. What he has to do now is essentially appeal to the Supreme Court, which would be. It would be interesting if the Supreme Court weighs in. I don't know that they would. Obviously, just because this does kind of annoy me in the media when it's like, oh, it's a Trump judge, so you just can't trust them. Trump judges have clashed with Trump's legal theories, including at the Supreme Court level, time and time again, relating to all the election stuff and so much else. So you can't. So the fact that the lower ruling went his way, then the next ruling didn't. I mean, that's like just part of our legal system, right? It doesn't mean.
Well, sure. I do think that a Trump-appointed judge ruling against Trump is as an interesting credibility point for those who would be disinclined to believe a ruling against Trump. I don't know that a Trump-appointed judge ruling in favor of Trump necessarily proves anything one way or the other. I think you're right there. But what's interesting now that you have Trump judges on either side of the equation is that the particularly scathing nature of this review, basically the issue, the argument was Trump is exposed to prejudice. The standard is, is there some prejudice if they pursue this investigation and it turns out, that he didn't do anything wrong? And the argument for prejudice that they make is, well, if they find something and he goes to jail, that will be bad. Like if there's a prosecution, it's prejudicial, which of course would mean every investigation would meet the standard of there being prejudice, because obviously that's the whole point of an investigation, to find out if somebody has committed some wrongdoing. So I read some commentary that said that the decision read like a disappointed professor marking up a student's paper, because that is how bad the legal arguments were.
It was very harsh.
Yeah, well, Trump's lawyers spent weeks pushing for an appointment of a special master to review the documents taken from Mar-a-Lago, and he finally got that with Judge Raymond Dearie. But does Trump now have reasons to regret this strategy? Insider says that Dearie has not helped Trump so far, exposing holes in the legal arguments presented by Trump's attorneys, confronting their attempts to evade scrutiny, and expressing overall impatience with Trump's legal defense.
This is very interesting. This shows that the special master could have been a beneficial development, even from the standpoint of people who want to see Trump prosecuted for something, or are not in the pro-Trump camp, even though it was Trump's own lawyers who wanted this arrangement. Because now you have, and he won that battle for the time being. He might ultimately lose that battle, but you have this figure who is not impressed with the arguments the Trump side is making whatsoever, and is in fact saying, there are parallels here to a lot of the election arguments. The special master saying that the Trump campaign is not even putting forth any actual argument for why the government shouldn't obtain these documents, shouldn't look through them, which is an indictment so often of the Trump legal. They had no actual plan for the election. So the things they were saying, the things they were promising, there was no on paper legal plan to actually do anything.
Yeah, they seem to be testing a lot of these theories out just on the Fox News audience. They throw Giuliani at it and see what happens. Yeah. And the reality is that has the effect of exposing their legal strategy before they've committed. Yeah, exactly. Before they've really committed to it. And it boxes them in to certain lanes. There was obviously, everyone was watching the big Trump interview on Fox last night, and that is part of the commentary that he is now having to defend, even to a Fox News audience, claims that he can, for example, declassify things.
Right, he said that
with
in
his mind.
Yeah, I saw a lot of great. That was memed a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Somebody said it's like a mutant power, like Professor X declassifies in his mind the documents. Obviously, That is not how it works. All right, we'll have more Rising right after this. Stay with us.